Hi, I'm Heather with Heather's Online Tea Shop, and today it's about Tea 101, the basics that you need to make the perfect cup of tea. So I get this question a lot of how to make a good cup of tea. People will either say, oh, I didn't like the taste of that, it was too bitter, it was too watery. And a lot of it comes down to what you're using to make your tea. I find with Sipology teas, because they don't use anything artificial, when you have the tea, the flavor and the smell match. One of the first teas I tried was their cocoa mint tea. It tastes like an after eight chocolate and it smells like an after eight chocolate. The other thing I notice when people are making teas is sometimes they will use, because all the packaging for the teas tells you what you need to do. So it will tell you how much tea you need, how long you need to brew it, and whether you can rebrew the leaves in the tea. And I find that one of the things people do is they'll use the measurement that's on the bag, but maybe their cup that they're putting the tea in is double the volume of the serving size, because these are a ratio of this amount of tea to 1 cup of water. So that's the other thing that I noticed with some of the teas, is that they're either using the wrong ratio or they are over or under steeping it. With green teas, if you steep your teas too long, they actually become bitter. With white teas and green teas, if your water's too hot, you can burn the leaves and they'll be bitter. So there's a few subtle nuances, but it's really not so hard once you get going. So what do you need to make the perfect cup of tea? Well, first you need some great loose leaf tea, whether it's a caffeinated version or maybe it's a rooibos tea that doesn't contain caffeine, or a fruit tea that doesn't contain caffeine, or an herbal. You need your tea, and then you need something to put it in. If you are enjoying the Heal Thyself teas, these are the certified natural health products that actually do what they say they do. Because these are certified natural health products, we have to have the right dosage of each ingredient in each serving. So the products here come in tea sachets. We call them tea triangles. They have no adhesives on them. They're made with a cellulose fiber that is self-adhesive when you heat it. So the ones in this type of packaging, they're already going to be single servings. You just have to watch how much water you're using and watch the amount of time you let it steep, but all those instructions are on the bag. If you're using a loose leaf variety, then you need something to put it in. And I'm going to show you a few of the different options that you can use. One of them, and it's probably truthfully the one I use the most, is called a steeping sack. A steeping sack, and this is made of a manila hemp fiber, which is another plant-based. So once again, instead of using glues and adhesives and having that end up in your tea, they just seal to themselves, because when you heat it, it gets a little sticky from well, I guess sticky is the wrong word, but it's self-adhesive. And so you can put your teas in here and don't have to worry about glues getting into your teas. I like these because you can use them for a single serving, you can use them for a full pot, and when you're done, you can toss them into the compost and it's fully compostable. So that's one option that you can have. You've probably seen other infusers out there. Another one of my favorites is the Universal Infuser. I like the Universal Infuser. Not sure why the box won't open for me. There we go. It's a fine mesh infuser. Some larger infusers aren't fine mesh. And if you're having something like a rooibos tea that has smaller particles, they slip through and get into your drink. So that's why I also like the steeping sacks for that matter too, because the little pieces won't get into your drinks. So this is what the fine mesh infuser looks like. And you can see that there's little tiny holes all around the top and the bottom. It also comes with a great lid/coaster. So while you're steeping it, you can put your lid on, and afterwards you can put it down so that when the extra water comes out, it doesn't get all over your counter. And this particular infuser fits in our teapots, but it also fits into mugs. So that's why they call it the Universal, because it's a nice one size fits all. The other thing about this one is that because the basket is large, it gives more room for the tea leaves to kind of dance in the water, and you want to get as much water and liquid around the tea leaves as you can when you're making your tea. So those are kind of like the coming, like you can use them in anything ones. But then there's a few other favorites that I have too, that I flip-flop between. One of them is called the Breezy. And with the Breezy, you put your tea straight in here. You top it up with your water, and when you're finished steeping, you put it over top of your cup, and the tea will come out. You can see I've got some water from cleaning it. The tea will come out the bottom, and when you're ready to clean this, the lid comes off, and the piece that's separate, you can see mine's well used. The piece comes out, and you can put it right into the dishwasher. And the one I'm going to demo for you today is the Trendy Tea Press. I love the Trendy Tea Press. It's great for making lattes, but it's great for making teas as well. And today what I'm going to make for you is French chocolate pu'er. Oh, I should froth up some chocolate milk with this one. So a pu'er is an aged tea. In the realm of teas, white, green, black, oolong, and pu'er all come from the same plant. What changes them is whether they're oxidized and when they're harvested. So the white tea is the baby tea. It has the least amount of caffeine, whereas the pu'ers that I'm drinking today, this is the aged tea, kind of like the fine wine. And it is 1 teaspoon per serving. So I'm actually going to make a double serving today. And the other nice thing about the pu'ers, as well as the oolongs, really anything but the black tea, is you can re-steep them 3 times over and still get a really strong cup of tea. So I'm putting 2 cups in my tea press today. This actually holds 1 liter, so I'm not going to fill it to the top, because if I did that, it would be too watery. So I'm going to fill it halfway. And as you can see, there's lots of room for the tea to dance in the press. And then I'm going to put on the lid, but I'm not going to push it down just yet. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tea timer, and I'll show you this in a second. I love the tea timer. The new one is white with silver. I have the older version. It's magnetic, so you can stick it on your fridge. And it has the minutes that you would steep things on here. But it also, to make it even easier, it just lists the variety of the tea on here. So you don't really have to think. You just have to know what kind of tea you're making, and it will take care of the rest for you. You would have seen me use this spoon when I was scooping up my tea. And I know you might think, Heather, I don't need another spoon in my life, but I beg to differ. I love the bevel on these spoons. I've become a bit of a spoon aficionado, because when you're getting your loose leaf out, if you're using like a typical kitchen spoon that's a little flatter, the tea leaf's going to spill everywhere. So that's where I like this. It's also perfectly portioned, so I know how much I'm scooping out. This is the pot of tea. Sorry, the cup of tea. This is the pot of tea. It's a little bit bigger, and with a new extended handle so you won't get matcha knuckles, there is now a longer handled matcha spoon, which is half of a serving of tea. So that's it. That's all you really need to do. It makes it look like I have a lot more to do because I've shown you so many things, but really what you need is tea, something to put it in, something to scoop it out of the bag with, and if you're feeling like treating yourself, something to time it so you don't forget, because I can't tell you, when I don't use this, how many times I come back hours later to the same spot only to find that my tea is now lukewarm. So the other thing is you can steep your tea hot or cold if you prefer your tea cold. You can also steep your tea hot, then cool it. But tea doesn't have to be served hot. Tea doesn't have to be steeped in water. I can show you right now in my tea pitcher. I love this one. This is sangria, and I steeped my cherry sangria fruit tea with a bottle of Jacob's Creek Moscato. And on days where I might have a larger group, I'll top it up with a bottle of champagne. You can use it as a substitute for juices. I use it with as juice for my kids. This is a similar pitcher. This is the perfect tea pitcher. I toss my tea in here. It has a strainer on it, and I let my kids drink the tea, and because there's no added sugars in it, so I don't have to worry about the added sugars that, or the even the natural sugars that you'll find in the juices. I just know that it's keeping them hydrated. And yeah, so we're almost at the end. I will get closer here so you can see that my tea's nicely coming through. The pu'ers and the black teas, if you're looking for another indulgent treat, are really good with a shot of rum chata. Black teas and rum actually go really well together. And then you can top it off with some frothed chocolate milk to give yourself an even better experience. So there goes my timer. My tea is ready. And I'm going to go enjoy a delicious cup of French chocolate pu'er. Bye.